Playboy Buddy Rhodes. And you're not getting this microphone anymore.
My mouth. You can't hit me and I can't hit you. Tuesday night, I do not suck. The Northwest sucks. Matt Bourne, you're
Hey, come on, buddy.
Matt Bourne's a pussy. He's so much a pussy. I got you Tuesday night, Bourne. Even though the Northwest Tag Team Championship's on the line. Tuesday night, Matt Bourne. When I get through with you, you're going to be so down under, they're going to have to airmail in light. You're going to look so much like Boy George that your jeans are going to have to be shaped like a question mark. The zipper will be just like a question mark. They won't know who you are. That's what kind of a pussy you are, Matt Bourne. And Tuesday night, Matt Bourne and myself are going to step into that square circle, and I hope the people back you up. I wanted the Northwest's attention tonight, and I got their attention. You know how I got their attention? By doing what I did to Matt Bourne. Now you...
Mike Miller has just appeared.
Mike Miller, Ebony, I got nothing against you guys. I'm on my own. I don't want to take nobody's place. I'm on my own. All I wish the best to you guys.
Buddy Rhodes, you come up here. You took care of Matt Bourne like we've been trying to take care of him for the past 6-7 weeks.
I'll take that as a compliment.
I'm telling you one thing, you put him down on the floor. You put him down, brother. You almost put him out of business.
Like I said, I'm not trying to take nobody's place here. You guys got a big title match Tuesday.
That's enough talking for now.
We all have something in common.
Just get out of here.
You got it, brother. Matt Bourne, you're going down Tuesday night.
Wrestling fans, are you ready? For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! This contest is scheduled for one fall. About to come down the aisle, your hosts, Doug Myers and Tim Utter. It's the Matt Marks Podcast. Challenge and combat.
Welcome, everybody, to the Matt Marks Podcast. I am one half of your host. I'm Dog by Harris. I'm here with Tim Cutter as well. Yeah, so this is a little WrestleMania wrap-up episode, I guess.
Sorry, I'm trying to look up to see what episode we were on. I got sidetracked.
That's all right.
Episode 10.
Mm,
Doesn't even feel like it's been 10.
no.
But
No. But yeah, I mean, fuck, I don't know. Did you watch all of Mania?
I didn't watch Saturday. I just read about it.
Okay.
But you know, I
Watch-
was out of town.
Any of the highlights at all?
No, I saw Cody's entrance, and that was really about it, to be honest. I didn't even watch Stone Cold KO stuff.
I watched it. It was, I don't know. You know, and a lot of people are saying it was a good Mania. I don't know if you've noticed that.
With the exception of Vince's stunner, but that's
Yeah, I don't see what people are seeing at all either, man. And it's way too fucking long.
it was Monday. It was pretty mundane. It was just kind of like, oh, okay. I mean, there was highs, there was lows, and there was a lot of like just even keeled, like didn't have any emotion, really.
Yeah, I think it could have been a lot better if they would have cut it down some. And, they need to add the fucking US title and Intercontinental title. It's bullshit.
Just the simple fact that those titles were not defended at WrestleMania was kind of a slap in the face to previous title holders and the current title holders. Like we don't want to even build up a story for our, second most prestigious title in the IC championship. And then the US title, holds a lot of weight when, Cena originally, when he had it, it very much ramped up and became, a fairly talked about title. And, during that run,
Well, to me, it shows the complete lack of respect they have for fucking Finn Balor, who is one of their most like underused guys, in my opinion. You know,
The original Universal Champ that has never been back to the top of the program ever since.
I don't
then.
even know if he
After
ever
got hurt.
had a proper rematch to be able to earn that back. If they did, it was squashed really quick.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it was so just non-existent is the word I want to use, but it was so under the radar that it was like, oh yeah, he did get his championship, and yeah, like you said, nobody even noticed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of old school dudes. Mick Foley really loved it. Fucking Cornette didn't hate it. His co-host, who I actually respect Cornette's co-host opinions more on shit than Cornette's. Because I don't know, I think Brian Last sees things a little more like me. He appreciates the newer stuff a little more than Corny does, you know.
Well, was he directly affiliated with the business, or has he just been, a guy, a podcast guy, or a coattails guy, or just one of Corny's lackeys or whatever?
Well, I don't necessarily think he's just one of Corny's lackeys, because he works with a lot of other guys in the business too. But I think, as you put it, he might be like a coattail guy. Like he was he's probably kind of like how Cornette was at first, like a guy that was like, because Cornette got in the business by being a kid that just took good pictures.
Right. And or like the new guy that I would consider in that the Hey Conrad Thompson.
Yeah.
He was never affiliated with the business. He just somehow runs a like a water mattress, or a real estate or whatever it is. But he's just a big fucking mark that ended up befriending a bunch of people and getting wrestling cons out there. And then his shit blew up a little bit. So yeah, I guess Conrad would be that that same style of guy.
Yeah, he's a lot like Conrad, actually, because I know who Conrad is too. But he it's funny because Cornette's podcast beats out all of Conrad's in the viewers, but Conrad has more guys with clout than Brian Last does, I think, because Brian Last has Cornette as his big headliner guy for his podcasts.
Right.
And then he brings in all these other guys that you have to be like a super big old school wrestling fan to really know and appreciate. You know, and they so it's, and I don't know why he's like our age, so I don't know how he got an appreciation for like old wrestling the way he did. He must have been a tape trader or something back in the day.
That or he was from a region. Yeah, I was gonna say tape trading. That's I was just gonna say basically the exact same thing, but in a different fashion.
Yeah.
Where he had a lot of different indie promotions or territory promotions in his neck of the woods that he was able to go to. He lived in maybe one of those little pockets of the country where he could hit 4 or 5 different promotions.
Well, and he's told stories about how he used to go to like ECW like every weekend, like because he's from that area,
Philly area.
Yeah, I think so. So he went to a lot of shows too, and that's probably how he got to know Cornette.
There's a lot of wrestling in that neck of the woods, so he was probably able to find shit pretty easily.
Well, and it's not like the Pacific Northwest where everything's like 6 hours away from everything.
Unless you live in the cities or the suburbs.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you don't have so much of that problem, but I mean, even I guess what I'm trying to get at is the states are like much smaller there, like,
right.
Like a drive from like, Philly to like
New York City
is like 2 hours. Yeah. It's not like 4 to like it would be from Seattle to Portland.
Yeah. I mean, that's only 4 hours because of the damn traffic in Tacoma.
Yeah. When I went up there, Paige, there was no traffic during rush hour. It was crazy. Really? I was like, are we in the zombie apocalypse?
Like that, where that Tacoma Dome interchanges? There
was nothing, dude.
I've never been there when they're
usually it's backed up all the fucking way to Olympia.
Yeah.
And right? I was like telling Paige right before we left, I was like, oh great, we're leaving just in time to where you can watch me like lose my shit. I said, remember the time you stole the money from your mom's purse? He's like, yeah. I'm like, you're about to see me more pissed than that. But yeah, I was like, this is so weird. There was nothing. I don't think I got gridlocked once. I mean, there was some traffic, but not fucking Tacoma on I-5 traffic.
we hit that Tacoma traffic real briefly, but then we had like the very first exit because we were kind of heading out east, another 30 miles to my buddy's house.
Mhm.
And yeah, we avoided all of it, but we were only stuck in it for like 3 minutes tops. So we got really lucky.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, back to wrestling podcast.
Yeah, let's talk about ROH, man. I didn't get a chance to watch it. I was too broke to afford it. I wish I could have afforded it. Let's talk about ROH and that pay-per-view and where we think that's heading before we get too far into Mania.
Yeah, no, I got you. Let me bring up the card just real quick so I can remember. Other than the main event, which was the probably the match of the weekend. All things considered, even with WrestleMania, it was definitely FTR Briscoes was the match of the weekend.
I need to watch that because I haven't, and everybody says it's really good.
It was very good.
The thing that I really kind of is disheartening to me about this whole thing is that it appears to me like it's really a lot of the guys handing the shit over to basically AEW, and that kind of makes me sad. That wasn't what I was hoping for,
No, and I saw this yesterday. That basically said that none of the ROH talent is currently going to be retained. They can basically earn contracts going forward. I think with the exception of Jonathan Gresham, he's going to be the only like carryover guy, I believe. Other than that, everybody else has to start anew.
So which one is that? I haven't followed ROH is very close.
John Gresham's the little wrestler guy that kind of resembles a Bryan Danielson in his heyday.
Okay,
short little black guy.
So who's the current champ now that all this is said and done?
John Gresham was the interim champ. Bandito was the original champ. They unified the titles. John Gresham beat Bandito.
Okay.
So he holds that title. Wheeler Yuta holds the pure title. Minoru Suzuki holds the TV title.
He won that though just now, right?
He beat Red Titus. He took that match on like 2 days notice. It was like, oh hey, Suzuki's in the area. Do you want to have a title match? And so boom, he's
probably because they needed somebody to drop the belt to because they didn't want that guy.
Yeah, right.
Which is kind of sad,
Instead of using another AEW guy, exactly. And then what do we got? We got FTR won the tag titles, and then Mercedes Martinez won the interim females title, but she is apparently going to wrestle Deonna Purrazzo sometime in the future to unify the interim Women of Honor Championship with the Women's World Championship, whatever the hell it's called. So yeah, it's going to be Mercedes Martinez versus Deonna Purrazzo of Impact Wrestling at some point in time. Nothing's been announced yet.
Okay. And so overall, how was that? Was that a pretty good pay-per-view, you thought?
Yeah, it started off with Alex Zane and Swerve. That was pretty killer. I've seen Alex Zane live in Portland, so he did a dive off the balcony and landed like right next to Landon. So that holds near and dear to our heart whenever I see him on a card. It's like, yeah, that dude just fucking jumped off the balcony and landed 3 feet away from my kid. So that was Swerve ended up picking up the win, but that was a great starter. And then everybody was making a big stink, or at least the indie crowd was making a big stink about Ninja Max gonna have his debut in Ring of Honor, and then surprise opponent by Tully was Brian Cage. That was kind of dope. And he came out with who did he come out with? Oh, he came out with Gates of Agony, which is just Jasper Kahn, who's a former Ring of Honor guy, but he's wrestled on AEW Dark a couple times. And then Toa Leona, another Samoan cat. I don't know who the hell he's probably related to, somebody in some way, shape, or form. And they've mixed up a little 3-man team with Tully. I don't think they have a name for the team. So that was cool just to see, because we haven't seen Cage in like fucking almost a year. So he still looks fucking great. And him going up against a 190-pound guy and a 270-pound guy like he is, just dominating and just making him look like a fucking monster, which is probably great booking on Tony's end, since he's taking over booking for ROH currently, obviously.
Yeah. I wonder if he kept any of the staff from the back, any of the writers or anything.
Kevin Eck, who was a backstage guy, and he also ran a podcast basically talking to ROH guys. I don't exactly know what he did backstage, but he announced today that he's no longer with the company. Ian Riccaboni, one of the commentators, the blonde guy with glasses, he basically has made it sound like he's still going to stick with Ring of Honor. But I saw something yesterday that, and like I said earlier, that basically none of the ROH talent is going to be retained with the exception of Jonathan Gresham.
Okay.
So Briscoes are going to go wrestle on Impact next week or something like that, and they might run a program in there, and it's all because the shit, AEW's too big of pansies to take on the shit that Jay said back in 2012 and then apologized for it later because it was some religious homophobic stuff or whatever, and they just Warner Media said they don't want to deal with it, so that's why Tony hasn't pulled the trigger, even though like those guys need a mainstream show. They need to be a mainstream.
I kind of get it a little bit. I mean, I think Tony's still in a fragile area where he's got to cater to these fucking assholes,
Right.
Like the ratings aren't good enough for Tony to not do or to try to fight TNT too hard, I think.
Exactly. He's doing a good job for Warner Media, but he doesn't hold enough clout to be like, no, I need to sign these guys to boost ratings, because I don't think the Briscoes will boost ratings as much as you and I hope they would.
No, you're right. I mean, you're totally right. But I mean, I do believe that they'd be truly appreciated once they got
for
there,
sure. And we'd mark the fuck out for them, but I don't think they'd bring in another half million viewers or another quarter million viewers. I don't think they have that type of clout on their end.
No. And with how things are going in the world, man, Jesus Christ, you can't do shit.
With this very, very PC world where you say anything and your fear of being canceled for whatever reason.
Fuck, man, they harassed Will Smith so bad that he checked himself into a fucking mental institution.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude. Like, it's like, okay, where is this becoming counterproductive?
That's so sad. Like, yeah, the slap happened and it was unfortunate. Maybe it was a little fucking childish. And yeah, maybe he should have, spent a couple nights in jail or whatever. But the fact that this dude is, they're coming after this dude over a fucking slap. Like, why is our world so thin-skinned and such a bunch of fucking pansies?
Well, I don't even really
held accountable for everything.
You knew, and you could tell by the speech he gave and the look on his face that he knew he'd fucked up.
I didn't watch it. I only watched the slap. I didn't watch anything after that because I really don't.
If you watch the other shit, dude, like you can tell, like, and I've been in that position where, like, you get in a bar fight and like you're instantly like, once the adrenaline's gone, dude, you feel like shit. If you're any kind of person that has any kind of conscience, like I know a few people that just get off on it, but those people are fucking dicks. Like if you're a person that holds any kind of conscience and you get in a situation like that where you react,
you feel shit.
Yeah. It mentally drains you instantly. Like once the adrenaline's gone, it's like being hungover almost,
Right.
And like all your body starts hurting from everything that you've just taken in, and it's a shitty feeling, and when I saw the look on his face and heard that speech, I'm like, fuck, dude, I've been there. Like, I know how he feels. Like, he's not a real fighter. He's probably under a significant amount of pressure from his fucking bitch wife. And
well, after that whole, her coming out that she was cheating on him, but then it came out like, oh, we actually have an open relationship and blah, 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 blah. I think he was just tired of feeling chumped and, feeling like a chump or whatever and being punked out, that he saw her face and he snapped, and it was like, oh, I fucked up.
I think the same exact thing,
It was a moment of heat, moment of passion, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Where it's like, he fucked up.
Yeah. And then on top of that, and like he said on his, he said in that speech, he said, Denzel Washington, just like an hour ago, just told me, hey, be careful when you're on, or when you're on the top, that's when the devil comes for you, or some shit like that. And like, there's just especially nowadays, it's not like how it used to be where like there wasn't a lot of pressure with being famous because you had the clout to just get away with everything. They've turned it to now you can't get away with anything. Yeah. It doesn't mean shit. In fact, you're held to a way higher standard than the average person. If I walked out and got into a bar fight with somebody and slapped them across the face, if that other dude decided not to press charges, I wouldn't lose my job. I wouldn't fucking, hear about it every fucking second of every day. I wouldn't have people taking jabs at my marital status or my relationships online, like by the fucking millions, you know? These like people need to remember these people are human too, you know, and that goes to like the Briscoes, man. Like it was a different time then. I know it wasn't that long ago, but they've apologized for it a million times over. They've done things to try to show that they didn't mean that and that they're trying to make a change for the better, you know, and that should fucking hold some kind of merit someplace, you know, because it does. It's just like everybody's, oh, that's not good enough, you know? Well, fuck, what is, you know? It would be good enough if they were actually not like fucking somewhat famous, you know? And, or it should be, you know? People should just be allowed to make mistakes, you know? Nobody's perfect.
Right. But I mean, you said it wasn't that long ago, but 2012 is 10 years ago. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, you know I think that's about the time, though. I mean, I guess you're right. It was a long time ago, but I think things had changed enough to where they should have fucking known better then. You get it another 15, 20 years ago, it's more in the area of where it's more forgivable.
I think society started to change probably 7-8 years ago. So they were right at the tail end of that, where it was kind of like people were thinking differently. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, I put out People Like You Hate People Like Me in 2013. So when I think about that, I think about where my standards were compared to how I was, and they were much higher. You know, I wouldn't say homophobic slurs or racial slurs at that point in time, you know, like when I was in my early 20s or in my teens, I would, you know, but when I was pushing, by the time I was in my late 20s, early 30s, I was done with that shit and understood that was no longer acceptable in this society, and respected the fact that it shouldn't be. I wasn't just putting that shit in the closet, you know, because I didn't want to fucking be fucked with, you know. But it is what it is. I mean, people just need to forgive, you know, a little more. That's all. People should be allowed to make mistakes. They're just words, you know.
Especially things that happened in the past, like, and again, they're words. And if we're that stuck on words, like we're gonna have a tough time with the rest of the world if we struggle this much with words.
Yeah. Well, and me and Bob Wayne had a talk off the clock once after we recorded a show, and he was like, look, man, he's like, it's not like I'm trying to be an asshole. Like, I'll call anybody what they want me to call them, but like, I'm too dumb to know what they want me to call them. You know, he's like, and at the end of the day, like, when it comes down to the nitty gritty, I'm not worried about he, she's, them, theys, or pronouns. He's like, there's fucking countries out there that are starving. And like, if you dropped any of these people in a country where there was real problems, they would fucking they would appreciate being in America, and they would not give a fuck about their pronouns so much.
These are first world problems for sure.
Yeah.
Total first problems. Like, yeah, other countries are not dealing. I mean, like, third world countries are not dealing with this shit. This is a first world country problems, and we're making it like it's the end all be all. But it's like, guys, yes, I get it. People are dickheads to fucking the trans community or the LGBTQ community. Like, but you could be getting fucking stoned to death for being this. No, you're just somebody's. You know, you put yourself out there, and somebody talks shit about it. Be like, okay, now we move on.
Yeah, I mean, that's my kid's real passionate about it, so that's like what I try to tell her too, or them. You know, it's like, look, and you got to be patient with this old fuckers, man. Like, it's not gonna happen overnight.
Exactly.
You know, I'm a creature of habit, and I work hard, and I don't try to think too much, because when I do, I get angry or like sad. You know, I just try to live my life, and sometimes that means that I'm not thinking about what pronouns I'm calling you in that moment, you know? Doesn't mean I'm trying to do it to intentionally be a dick, you know? And you can tell. And I think one thing that's extremely miscommunicated, and this is going way outside of a wrestling podcast, but anyways, whatever. I think one thing that's extremely miscommunicated, and I'm actually about to interview my trans friend for Dog Double Talking today after my other project today. But I think the one thing that's most extremely like taken out of context. Most trans people don't get fucking pissed if you call them the wrong pronoun, but they're not stupid. They know when you're doing it by mistake and when you're doing it to be a fucking asshole. And if you're doing it to be an asshole, yeah, they'll jump your shit. But if you're doing it because it's a habit or you're not paying attention or, you know, they'll kindly correct you. It's kind of like the Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays thing. I've never once heard a fucking liberal or a person that's not Christian get mad for somebody saying Merry Christmas to them ever. It's always conservatives that are like, oh, you can't say Merry Christmas anymore. You know?
I don't know. I've seen a lot of shit in Portland.
Yeah, I've never seen it ever once.
I mean, I've seen it from both sides, but I've seen it a not that much, but like I said, I've seen each side. But I get what
Let me
you're saying.
ask you, which side have you seen it more on?
You know, to be honest, I've only seen it like 3 times a piece. Like it's
Really?
literally dead. Yeah. But like,
And maybe it's just because here I'm surrounded by conservatives more so
Right.
than liberals. So I just see that side of it so much, you know? So maybe I do have a biased view on it and I just don't notice, you know? But
Yeah. You're probably a little bit more left thinking than a lot of the folks out that way.
oh yeah, you know, and I'm so left thinking they'll just consider me a Democrat, even though I don't at all, you know. And when
Right.
anybody asks me what my political views are, I say I don't like them, like any of them, like at all. Period. You know, I don't like politics. I don't like politicians. You know.
No, it's up a can of worms that just like it's all about, you know, upsetting the other side. But anyway, let's
Yeah, no shit. That's what my other podcasts are for.
Yeah.
Samoa Joe showed up. We didn't talk about that though. I think we might finally see them do something with Jay Lethal. I'm feeling good about the fact that maybe Tony's listening.
Yeah, right.
You know, I think I really hope they don't misuse Samoa Joe though.
Well, so you saw that Joe and Suzuki are going to battle it out for the ROH TV title on Wednesday. So I'm assuming Joe will take it from Suzuki, and Joe will hold that title, is my guess. And yeah, I don't know what direction they're going to go kind of from there, especially with Jay Lethal coming out, you know, and doing his thing, beating up Gresham, and then Joe coming out.
One thing I kind of really hope for, and this is what I would book this almost right, not super out the gate, but maybe down the line a little bit, once a few storylines are settled. I think they need to take Joe. They need to take Joe, Bryan Danielson, and CM Punk and make some kind of Ring of Honor faction to feud with like a new Ring of Honor faction. And maybe throw, you know, Fallen Angel with Christopher Daniels, maybe add him into it. It's like the original guys, you know,
like OG ROH, you know, the old style logo versus the new style logo.
Yeah. And then in addition to that, I would totally be setting guys like, especially Samoa Joe, man. Samoa Joe, I don't think's got a lot of gas in the tank. You know,
I don't think
he's getting fucking hurt all the fucking time. As much as I love him and want to see it, and he's getting kind of sloppy too. He fucking paralyzed Tyson Kidd and ended his career, you know. So
right.
He's not the Samoa Joe that he was. Huh?
He didn't paralyze him, but he fucked him up. Like Tyson
yeah, that's what I meant to say. Yeah, he ended his career. You know, he broke his fucking neck good enough to end his career and fuck him up good. So
right.
But I think that Tony should be setting up Ring of Honor to have those guys in a role there that'll help boost Ring of Honor to another level, you know. And I hope he doesn't try to completely hold it down as like I hope he treats it as like a training area, like the NXT did before they changed back, you know. Like I hope he keeps it with a little bit of clout, you know.
The black and gold, like where the tail end of the black and gold, where it was like, yeah, we can say that we're a third brand.
Yeah.
Even though WWE doesn't consider us a third brand amongst the masses, we're a third brand.
Yeah, exactly. Where you had your Adam Coles over there, and you had but I think I think there's a good way to have a balance to have guys like that over there and then still have the newer guys come up through it, and I think maybe you could utilize another internet show for ROH that would get the real small guys some time, One thing's for sure, though, they need to utilize both those internet shows with storylines. It would make it a lot more interesting and help with a lot of things because a lot of those guys can't carry a story for shit, and that's 90% of their problem.
They've started to where they've gotten rid of a lot more of the enhancement talent, and they started using the lower tier talent. The Ruby Sohos, and even though she's lower, she's a WWE gal, she's still a lower tier on the AEW card right now. Ruby Soho versus Emi Sakura, and just kind of onesie twosies, little lower tier matches or whatever, B show matches, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, and but I'm excited for Joe to be back around. That was cool, and I think they'll do something with Lethal. Another thing I wanted to touch on is like the Wardlow thing, man. That guy is so fucking over, man.
Right.
I'm not sure. I don't know. I kind of don't like the fact that he's like, because you turn it to one channel and you see Brock Lesnar like take out like 100 fucking security guards and then beat somebody's, or at least you don't have to let him get a hold of MJF, but I feel like they're making him look a little weak when they're like having all these fucking rent-a-cops pin him to the ground. Right. It's like, come on, guys, like, don't do that, because it's like right over here on the other channel, literally 2 days ago, they had the same scenario and Brock Lesnar just destroyed all those people. Don't make him look weaker than the fucking
first 8 dudes. They need to do that. If he does get like,
and I think
look like a monster.
I think somebody passed that message on because they haven't quite done it as badly as they did that one time, but they need to stop like letting anybody get in his way. They just need to make it. If they don't want him to get a hold of MJF, they need MJF to find new creative ways to get away from him before he can grab a hold of him.
Get new lackeys to like get him with
Cal in front of him. Yeah. MJF could use a couple more lackeys too now that it's just him and Sean Spears too. Because the clock's ticking. And to be honest, fucking
I don't think FTR should be part of the Pinnacle.
No, they're so face. They went face. No, they didn't have a choice. Like the crowd turned them face, kind of like they did with Austin. They were like, we want these guys to win. We're tired of watching you guys fucking bury these dudes. We're tired of like they're the best tag team out there, one of them, and you're treating them like shit, basically. And they got so over that essentially that Tony, I don't think could even do it. And I think that was the whole purpose of the Young Bucks match, And honestly, I don't think the Young Bucks are as like into burying people as some people like to say. I bet that was partly their idea. They were probably completely okay with being like, fuck yeah, let's give these guys their due.
I think so too. I think they're a lot more humble than people think.
Or at least maybe they are now. They're starting to see that, like, hey, it's not good for business to just, I think they're starting to see how unover they are right now. Right. They're starting to lose some fans. People are really over the Young Bucks.
Right. They're 32 and 37, so they're not young men anymore either.
No.
It's not they were the brash kids of the Bullet Club days. They're dads now. They got to change with their character. I think they need to wisen up and let the younger talent get over the top flights, the fucking the Jurassic Express, even though Luchasaurus is an older dude anyway.
Well, I think FDR is kind of older too, but they're probably not too far in age, but it's at the same time, they're not getting their due like they should be,
Right. Yeah. I want to say Dax and Cash are like 33 and 34 or something like that.
Yeah. But yeah, man. All right. Well, let's move on to Mania. I'm sure we got plenty to talk about. There's anything else you want to add from AEW before we move on, though? Because you probably have fallen a little closer to me. Besides Wheeler Yuta just squirting blood everywhere. Wasn't that Wheeler Yuta?
Yeah, that was Yuta. Yeah. And I haven't watched that match yet either, too. Like we were supposed to watch it this afternoon or last night or something like that, and just haven't got around to it yet.
That looked like a bit of an accident, maybe.
Yeah. gigged himself a little deep.
Yeah, I'm sure Cornette's gonna have a heyday with that. That's why you don't fucking do this every goddamn week.
I thought he's of that old school state of mind that he's all right with gigging.
No, he likes a little color, but he's not really cool with it happening like every day. You know, because back in the day when somebody would get color, it fucking meant something, you know.
Right. Like when Dustin got it against Cody at Double or Nothing the first go round.
Or like when Cornette got it in his white suit, it was a huge deal, you know. Like, and there's ways to do it where it's better, I guess, you know, but it's just, you know, I don't care either way, personally. It doesn't bug me.
Right.
I do like the shock value to be there, though, you know, and it's starting to go away a little bit, you know. I like to be like, oh, fuck. Like, you know, and it's just like, it's kind of getting to the point where it was when hardcore wrestling was around, where it was just like, I don't want anybody to like end careers trying to one up each other, you know? And I think that's Cornette's big thing too, is he doesn't want people to get seriously hurt, because that was what really happened a lot. And, you know, that's why Flair hates Foley so much, is because he feels like Foley and Funk really were part of the reason that shit got so over. And it was like allowing guys that had no training to come in and hurt people or fucking just get hurt themselves, you know.
Right. No, I get that.
So, but for me, I don't really care, but it does seem to like matter more when it's stuff like Punk and MJF, you know, when it's planned better, like, because, you know, they had Punk hardly ever wears a white anything except maybe shorts, you know. He had that big white shirt on, you know. They planned that so perfect. And I think MJF had a white suit on too, or something.
Yeah. It was a light tan, if I remember, light tan or light pink or something like that.
But it just made it all that just really pop, you know?
Right. Yeah. But I think with Utah, I think it's the emphasis on the violence that the Blackpool Combat Club with Daniel.
Oh yeah.
So I think if you can bleed with me, then you can be with me, kind of thing. I think that's kind of the concept, and why they're pushing the blood immensely.
I totally get it. I get it too with that, you know, and I was just kind of saying in general with everything, you know, it just seemed to be happening a bit, probably slightly too much, you know, but maybe not in that case, you know, but in other cases.
What was it? The ladies street fight match at St. Patty's Day Slam. And then he's, you know, Thunder Rosa and fucking Britt at the cage match, you know, the previous pay-per-view. So like, it's like every 2 or 3 shows, there's a Crimson Mask. No, I get that.
Yeah. And it's not just a little bit, it's like a lot, you know, it's like you said, it doesn't have to be a fucking Crimson Mask every time, you know?
Right.
Like, I love the fact that Britt did it, you know, I love the fact that, you know, but doesn't mean every woman has to go do it now, you know, especially the women, because the women don't have that kind of experience to do that shit right. You know, that they're a very green fucking breed right now. There's probably only 4 of them that should be fucking with that in this moment.
Right.
You know,
like even, you know, maybe Rosa, maybe Britt, because she's learned shit from Adam, you know, like, but there's not many of them that I would trust to do that. No,
Rosa is one of them. Ruby's probably one that could get some color, and Britt, you know, and Britt's not even all that seasoned. She's just trying harder than the rest of them are coming along quicker, I guess, you know.
Britt's only been wrestling like 5 or 6 years too.
Yeah.
So it's not rare.
Well, I mean, she's just game. You can tell that she's really trying hard to come around, you know.
Well, most definitely.
So,
all right, on to WrestleMania.
All right, yeah. So nothing else from AEW you want to add?
Yeah, not really. I think you know, we can touch on that next go around, but I think we should emphasize this last, you know, hour change on WrestleMania.
Okay. So yeah, the one thing, I don't have it in any fucking order. I just posted some of the highlights. So
did you watch Stand and Deliver at all? Now, before we go, because it's part of WrestleMania weekend, the NXT show.
No, I didn't even watch it, but you know, the Tommaso Ciampa thing was pretty cool. Like, nobody really knows where he's at.
Right.
I guess his contract is about up, and nobody's really heard if he's re-signed, if he's going to the main roster, what that was all about. If that was just Triple H thanking him for being part of the brand. when it was a good buy, or if it's him going to the main roster. And I would love to, if they're gonna try to make a good. First off, after this Mania, I've kind of really checked out from WWE more than I even already was. But like I said, I'll always have faith that they'll come back around, because I like everything's better with variety,
Right.
But you kind of know my thoughts. I've talked about them on the past. I think they're just going in a different direction that does not cater to fans like us anymore. They don't think they care about fans like us. I think they care about their brand of fans, which apparently they have some, and I didn't realize that so much until you pointed it out, that there are legitimately people that just fucking love what they are doing,
Yeah.
I am not one of them.
Yeah.
Especially for especially for 5 hours a week and 2 days of WrestleMania. 3 if you count, the Hall of Fame, everything else, and just how they do shit. Like, and just a simple thing, like, I hate how they fucking changed Pete Dunne into this fucking dipshit character. And now they're like running him at a black and white like matches all the fucking time,
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what I thought I saw. I think I saw that they're doing like a black and white screen whenever he comes on.
Like the vaudevillains, like they did with Gotch and English back in the day.
Yeah.
Back years ago.
But yeah, it's like, and they're making him like a Scrappy Doo kind of character, but like he actually kicks ass when he gets away. But they're like, let me at him. It's like fucking so stupid.
So he's not a Peaky Blinders, that 1920s or whatever the fuck 1910s English gangsters or whatever. He's not kind of that character, because that's what I assumed he was.
Oh no, he kind of is. That's what they're kind of going for with the whole crew, but at the same time, he's the guy where like Sheamus and that other dipshit that fucking killed fucking Biggie almost, that they've got so much fucking love for whatever fucking reason. That shit pisses me off to see that guy on fucking TV, to be honest. It really fucking bugs me. It really fucking bothers me that green motherfucker almost fucking ended Biggie's career and he's just out there. They need to send his ass back to fucking NXT.
He did in NXT too, just Gargano landed differently.
Oh, really?
Gargano in NXT on NXT TV, but he just landed.
Shit. Yeah, so that's just fucking
Watch suplex, earlier in his career on TV as well. And it's like, this is the second time he's done it. I don't think this guy needs to pull off that move ever again, or needs to go back to NXT.
Yeah, he needs to go probably back to the fucking the training camp for a while, because he's not even interesting. There's nothing remotely that he brings to the fucking table except he's big and he looks good.
But he's not that big. He's only like 6'2", 250. He's not a huge.
I mean, I guess he's cut though, but that's it. I guess you're right. I mean, I just never noticed. He looks big though. I mean, but maybe it's, I don't know.
I could be wrong, but I didn't think he was that big. I mean, let me look it up just so I'm not like, being jaded in my view.
Because I feel like he was bigger. I feel like he's bigger than Sheamus, and Sheamus is bigger than 6'2".
Okay, no, yeah, Sheamus is like 6'5". So yeah, no, and I'm just looking at it right here. He's 6'1", 250.
Okay. So he's not too much even taller than me. He's just stacked though, you know.
He's just very, very cut dude, yeah.
I mean, I don't imagine Brian Cage is too much taller than 6'1" or 6'2" either.
Cage 6'2" as well, yeah.
But I mean, it's just anyways, that's kind of going on a tangent. Like, I just hate that shit, and I hope they don't do something like that with Tommaso, Like,
James is 3. I thought he was taller than 6'3".
They'll probably add Tommaso to that whole fucking group. They'll probably be like fucking something.
But Ciampa's at least freaking Italian descent or whatever. Unlike Sheamus, Ireland, Ridge Holland, I believe, is English, and then Butch is English as well.
Yeah. So
I don't think they'll throw Tommaso in there, because, like I said, he's of Italian descent. So I don't think he'll go. Oh no, that other guy, yeah, Ridge is English as well. I'm sorry, he's also English. So yes, I don't think Tommaso will go to that group, but
yeah, who knows though what the fuck he'll do? Like, fucking go and job out to fucking everybody for 5 years until they gets his future endeavors back and he's too old to fucking do anything. Or
He's
till
almost
Sheamus's boy fucking paralyzes him.
I want to say he's almost 40 by now, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
his clock's ticking too, man. I'd love to see him someplace else, to be honest.
Right.
Especially if they get Gargano over at ROA or over at AEW, and I think that's probably going to happen. Even though I'm not the biggest Gargano guy, but my favorite programs that he did was with Tommaso. You know,
right.
And they could utilize that more over there. You know.
Oh, Tommaso's 30. He's a little younger than I thought he was.
Okay.
But 30 wasn't a young man either.
No, not in that profession. I mean, I guess that it's getting to be a little longer life expectancy in wrestling nowadays, but the schedules aren't as grueling and the it's just not as hard on you. And medical science has became better.
They're not traveling as much. They're not wrestling 300 days a year like they used to.
Well, and they're now that, you know, the Chris Benoit's and shit have happened, the standards of healthcare have became better.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have people wrestling with concussions 365 days a year or popping painkillers all the fucking time or shooting steroids, you know. It's more acceptable not to be a giant bodybuilding monster, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
So a few more years on your life expectancy. Speaking of that, man, I did watch the Hall of Fame, which to me, man, I really miss like how they used to actually put work into it. Like now they just like basically tear down a couple of the sides of the ropes off the ring from SmackDown. And it's just like an extra piece of the SmackDown show now, you know, and it totally feels like that. And I feel like somebody like The Undertaker deserved a lot better, you know.
So they didn't make a grand spectacle like they have in the past?
No, basically it's like they put like a red carpet in the ring after SmackDown's over. They take the ring down. Then they set up some chairs real quick so that all the wrestlers can come out and sit. And it's they kind of set it up on the aisleway there. And like, but
really?
yeah, essentially it was SmackDown this year, pretty much. Because
it used to be on the state and up the entrance area with a podium. That shit, they don't do that anymore.
Well, they do the podium and stuff, but it's in the ring and it looks like shit. It's not like it used to be, you know. And they changed that the year Bret Hart got attacked. I don't know if you remember the backdrop then.
Right.
But that's when they started pulling that shit. And part of the reason is because
Bret got a ring.
Huh?
Right?
Yeah.
Bret got attacked ring.
Yeah.
So why would you put it where they're back in the ring?
Yeah, I know. That's me.
Yeah.
And that allows more of those cuckoo bird fans to fucking be there too, you know?
Yeah, right.
And but yeah, I mean, I just don't fucking know, man. But you know, they let Taker talk for a really long time, and it was kind of cool, but it was kind of at the end of it, it was kind of like I was like, this is why I don't think he could have got over on another fucking character, you know? Because like the stars lined up for Taker because I don't think he could be interesting as anybody else but the Undertaker.
Yeah, because I mean, even the American Badass was fucking corny as fuck.
Oh yeah, no, that's why they switched him back. Is I mean, he needed to change and try something new, but the American Badass character is more of how he really is.
Right.
He's like a roughneck, fucking from Texas, you know.
Yeah, that's the American Badass is Mark Calloway, yeah, for sure.
But probably cheesed up just a little bit more, you know.
Yeah.
Like it's a little more.
What the fuck did I just do?
I don't know.
I'm pressing buttons because my damn screen for my phone fell.
Oh, okay.
It should be back to normal.
But yeah, but it's cool, man. I just felt the Undertaker deserved better. They should have made it more of a spectacle of it, you know. They did let him talk for way longer than they've let anybody talk.
Which was an hour.
Yeah, it was pretty much an hour, which kind of sucks for like, you know, Steiner brothers who had like 5 minutes.
Right.
It was funny, like Rick at the induction of the Steiner brothers. fucking Scott talked first, and then Rick had like a whole list of things, and he's like, well, I had a whole list of things, but they only gave us 4 minutes and you took 3 of them, so I guess I don't need this anymore. he's like some things never change. Is what he said, something like that.
But that is pretty, like, you know, they didn't have the most significant WWE career. I think their career was much more significant in the WCW. So, you know, it's like, yes, I know WWE is like adopted and brought in the WCW, you know, wrestling, you know, that all that stuff, but it's like I get why they only got a couple of minutes, because they weren't that big on WWE TV.
Yeah. Well, I would have given them a little more time, but because I do think they're probably a little more relevant than you think. Because in the late 80s and early 90s, before they jumped ship back over to there, they had a minute where they were the champs probably a couple different times, and where they're really like the most serious tag team, because they were probably the most serious tag team out of like the fucking Bushwhackers and the fucking Nasty Boys and shit like that, when tag teams were really just gimmicky, you know? Right. And it was probably they were probably the only tag team around that time that was probably more relevant in WWE was probably like maybe Legion of Doom and maybe the Hart Foundation, you know? Demolition. Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I think Demolition, you're probably right, but I think they're probably right up there in the same category as Demolition. So
I get. Yeah, I'm trying to see when their run in WWF was.
Yeah,
92 to 94. So it was fairly early on.
Look, I thought they were there probably from, my guess would have been from 88 to 92.
No, so they started that's when they were in WCW. It was 89 to 92 in WCW. Originally, they went to WWF 92 to 94. They spent some time in New Japan between 91 and 95. They spent a year-ish or months-ish in ECW in 95, and they went back to WCW from 96 to 2001 until it was bought by WWE.
Okay.
Yeah, so sorry, giving a quick history deal real quick.
That's all right. You know, and no, that's cool. That's what I mean. It's good for this, you know. But
yeah, right.
But yeah, I don't know. Back to me. Other than that, like that whole thing was kind of stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they didn't really have a woman's wrestler this year go in. They had they tried to double that by doing a woman manager, you know, which was Booker T.
Queen, whatever their name is, Charmel. Yeah.
Yeah. Which for me, it's like just another way to keep Booker T around, because, you know, he's in for Harlem Heat, which you want to talk about a tag team that literally had nothing to do with WWE. Harlem Heat's it.
Did Stevie Ray ever wrestle in WWE?
I don't think so. Not ever. And if he did it in a pocket where from like 2002 to when I started talking to you about wrestling, because we both started watching it again around the same time.
Right.
You watched it a little later than me because you were into it still. I'd already stopped watching it by the time they did by the time they did Mania in Seattle. So
yeah, I was still, that was when I think I was what was I, like 19, 18 at the time. So it was like that was about the tail end, and then I stopped watching wrestling shortly thereafter, and it didn't start back up again until like 2006 or so. So I did about a 5-year period, right? And then 2006 only went for like maybe 18 months, and then I didn't watch it again until you and I became friends.
Yeah, so literally almost right when the Ruthless Aggression era came in, I stopped. It lost me for some reason, but everybody says that's one of the greatest eras there was. But
it really was. I mean, that was when Benoit won the title, when Eddie won the title, when Brock first came in, when John first came in, when Batista first came in, when Randy first came in. There's a lot of guys that came in and cut their teeth during that time frame.
Yeah, and Evolution was running roughshod. There were some good factions.
Right.
Yeah, but
it was a great time. Like, a lot of people argue that it was probably better than the Attitude. Just the Attitude was so entertaining because of the Monday Night Wars.
Yeah, and it still had some of that aspect to it, but it was a little more serious, is what a lot of people say. You know, there wasn't as much sex or hardcore shit. It was a little more like back to old school wrestling.
Right. Yeah, I'd say from 2008 till you and I became friends, when I was out of wrestling from, like I said, about 2008 or so till then. So when did we become friends? Like 2000, 14, 13, somewhere in there.
Yeah, 2014, because that was when the first Ruckus was.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a 6-year lull where I was like, I don't know what the fuck's going on at all.
Mhm. All right, so I don't even know, man. My notes are kind of like from all scattered around from different days.
Well, I'll open up. Excuse me. I'll open up the day by day match so I can kind of be like, this one. How about this one?
I'll tell you, the 3-way tag match wasn't too bad with RK Bro and Alpha Academy or whatever the fuck.
That was night 1, right?
I think so.
No, that was night 2.
Was it? All right, go down the list of night 1 and I'll tell you.
The night 1 was the Usos versus Shinsuke and Rick Boggs, where I guess
That was shitty, man. Dude, Rick Boggs' leg got fucked. I think they were gonna have the Usos drop the titles, but Rick Boggs fucking blew his knee out right there. That was I'm 99% sure that was a last minute fucking call. Which works out okay because Roman, ended up unifying the title, which that match was really good until the end, and they turned it into a hot pile of shit in typical WWE. Actually,
it was very entertaining until the finish. Then it was straight dog trash.
Yeah, that was kind of almost an AEW move, to be honest. Like that really was.
It really was, because there's a lot of times where AEW matches have been great. The finish has just been fucking just, what the fuck was that? And that was one of those moments.
Yep, that was totally one of those moments.
I was like,
okay.
It was a 5 out. I thought it was legit like a 5 out of 5 match in my mind, but then the finish happened. I was like, what? Wait, what? It was like,
yeah, one after all that work, and it just one
garbage.
spear did it. Just one spear.
Right.
Like what if they wanted him to go out dirty, they should have fucking had him hit him with the belt.
Exactly.
By
the time the Usos come out and fucking hit him in the nuts or something.
Yeah,
like
if they wanted him to go out dirty, they should have did it right, because then it just didn't make any sense.
It was a masterpiece, and then just became the laziest pile of garbage.
Yeah, exactly. That was, and that's probably why Shane McMahon was losing his fucking shit behind the scenes at fucking Rumble.
Right.
That's what I imagine was driving Shane McMahon nuts. There was all of the shit like that makes it fucking so fucking stupid. Like everyone's, he's an egomaniac. He was probably just trying to find ways to make it make sense and make it more relevant. You know.
Right.
But all right, what's the second match? Yeah, Boggs. His knee's fucked. He's out for a while.
Yeah, and then there was a Drew McIntyre versus Happy Corbin. Like
that was that was awful.
What a bullshit match. 9-minute match that was.
Yeah, and then they did this. Huh?
I said after reading it, I was like, what a wasted match.
Oh, totally. And then they did this dumb fucking thing to try to make it cooler than it was, where they had Drew McIntyre hit the rope with his sword, and the fucking rope blew up, and they had a bunch of fake noise in the background. I was like, that's stupid. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I love Drew McIntyre too, but like, I don't know. He's kind of like a diesel champion, where he's like one of those guys you like, but you realize why he might not be a head guy once he's got the belt, or.
And I guess he cut his own entrance because he knew it was going to take too long, and he didn't want it to take away from his match. Yeah, so like his entrance was supposed to be some extravagant thing, but it would have cut into his 9-minute match, and he said, let's cank that shit. Let's just do the regular entrance so I can have a 9-minute match at least.
Good for him.
Yeah, and then so the next match was then Miz and Logan Paul versus Mysterios.
Logan Paul, man. Logan fucking Paul should be on the roster. What a surprise, dude. And I fucking hate the Paul brothers. I fucking hate the Paul brothers, but I think I hate them like I hate heels, like they're the most realistic heels out there. Like, I think that dude, I'm really hoping they do something with him and the Miz, because that guy, he cared about what he was doing. First off, I didn't know he's a big wrestling fan, I guess. And he has been since he was a kid, like we were. So he gets it. That's why his facial expressions, everything that Logan Paul did was on par. Like Cornette was like, he could be headlining AEW right now. He's better than 90% of AEW's roster right now. Like he was so good. I didn't expect him to be that good. I thought he was going to suck. But he cares, man. He worked his ass off too. I mean, you could tell he looked like
bucks too.
Huh?
I said he looked like $1 million too.
Oh yeah, no, he looks like he belongs there. It's not like Bad Bunny, or it's not like that. He looks like he could get a job with WWE, and he might if they offer him the right kind of money and they still give him the freedom to maybe box. And I think he's a pretty subpar boxer, but he's a goddamn good businessman. So he might see the writing on the wall.
He hasn't lost a boxing match yet.
Yeah, but all of his shit is real pussy shit, and the only reason it's fucking put on the fucking mainstream shit is because he's a fucking like YouTube star,
Also, yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, I think a lot of his matches are, especially, and people, I can't remember. I think people think that Logan's actually probably better than fucking
Jake.
And when it comes to boxing,
yeah.
And Jake's definitely the dumber one of the fucking two.
Yeah.
And I really can't stand Jake. I can actually always tolerate Logan a bit more than Jake, but seeing Jake I really hope they don't bring Jake into this actually, because it'll be a mess. I'll guarantee it.
He ended up being on the
I know. I took a picture of it and was like, this is what I fucking turn on. That was like what I turned it on to.
Right.
So, but Logan Paul, man, that was a fucking crazy how good he was.
Yeah, I saw highlights. Obviously, he was super athletic. That fucking leapfrog was pretty fucking killer. We went out on toes.
I'll tell you one dude that I just can't fucking get behind is Dominique Mysterio. And
there's something about him that just is kind of blah.
Well, I hate to say this, and I hate to keep referring to Cornette and fucking Brian Last, but I think they might have hit the nail on the head as why like I can't get behind him. And I think it's just because he looks like he's fucking 12. If they would have put a mask on him like they did Ray, it probably would have changed my whole perspective on him, because he looks like he's fucking 12. And so did Ray at that point, but he had his fucking face hid by a goddamn mask for the majority of his career, at least until it was enough to where he got put over enough to where it wouldn't matter,
Filthy animals. He was covered in tattoos at that point too. So like that also played to it. Like Dominic isn't really covered in tattoos like Ray is.
No, he looks like he's fucking 12. Like there's no way around it. He's a good athlete, and he's probably equally as good on the mic as Ray is, but
right.
He's just,
but it's just his look, the look of his face, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, he's such a fucking baby face, which so is Ray underneath the mask. They should have put a fucking mask on him to start, and I think it would have changed everything, because I don't think anybody's getting behind this kid. I think he's only on TV because they want to keep Ray around. They got Ray signed to like a Legends contract at this point, I think, and he sells merch, a shit ton of merch still. But I really think they could give a fuck less about Dominique.
Right.
They could still probably change it though, because I think if they did like a thing where they were like, Ray gave him a mask and was like, you finally earned your mask, son, it might help, because I just can't look at that kid and take him fucking serious, man. Like,
I agree.
I feel like Landon and him could have a good solid fight together,
My kid probably has more facial hair than he does.
Probably, yeah. He does got to have he is working on a little stash,
right?
But yeah, he probably does, man.
So Miz and Logan Paul ended up winning, but then the Miz turned on Logan or some shit right at the end, right?
Yeah, and he tagged himself in to get the glory.
Gotcha.
So
hopefully that brings something around. If not a program now, maybe it brings out a program for SummerSlam, and we
probably that's I'm gonna guess is it'll probably be a SummerSlam program.
Yeah. So then next we had Bianca and Becky.
That wasn't too bad. Actually. Bianca's just good, dude. And I think somebody made a valid point. Like, I can't remember where I was listening to this at. It wasn't actually Cornette, but it was something maybe I was reading online. That, everybody was like pissed that Becky got the belt back because they kind of pushed Bianca away like right away. And they're like, oh, typical Becky, like Becky's just burying new talent and shit. But I guess like this was kind of a plan all along, and it was kind of to make Bianca relevant again, like more relevant by having the build to that, and now she's got 2 WrestleMania moments, and she's beat the one of the people that is like the baddest people on the fucking, the baddest woman on the roster. So, and I think That's why Becky did it now, looking at it, as much as we've kind of bitched about how we're kind of over Becky. I think that she did it for the right reasons. If I was following WWE more, I think the build up to that was probably better than I thought it probably was. They really did put a lot of personal shit into that. There was a real build to that. It wasn't some shit thrown together like fucking Happy Corbin and McIntyre.
Were they like personal lives and shit into it? I didn't watch.
Well, they like Becky did a pretty good job at like putting a beat down on Bianca and they made it look like they put her out of commission for a minute. And they were like, there was this thing where they were wondering if Bianca was going to be able to come back in time because Becky really fucked her neck up. And then like the week before WrestleMania came in, fucking Bianca came back. It might've been a week or two, but Bianca came back and they really got into like a good fight. And like Bianca like fucking whipped the shit out of fucking Becky with her hair.
Okay. I was in my head, I was thinking like they took personal stuff. Like they brought Seth and Montez into the mix as well.
Yeah, no, they just did a good old fashioned, like try to end the career. They actually tried at least,
I get that.
and sold it pretty well,
The ladies must have had a decent match. They gave them 19 plus minutes.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I mean, they probably could have done it in a little smaller time. There were some pockets where it was pretty fucking boring, but I guess you get that in a lot of matches anyways,
Right. There's the third longest match of both nights. So they put a little bit of faith behind those.
Well, honestly, it's probably deserved because they're both pretty good in the ring,
right.
As compared to like a fucking Happy Corbin, or a fucking Logan Paul, it should,
right.
They did put a fucking bit of merit into the women's thing, it's a little bit too much for Mania, but that one match is one that I'm pretty pleased that they at least gave a little bit of time to,
Right.
So what's the next match?
Cody and Seth Rollins.
That was a pretty good match, but I think we talked about this. I was super fucking disappointed. I kind of just watched because I was just hoping that it wasn't Cody,
Right.
I really was hoping it wasn't Cody. I mean, I think a lot of people tuned in hoping it was, but I was really hoping it wasn't, and it was, and part of me, I don't know, part of me wants to see Cody help make the WWE brand relevant to me, and wants me to see him get the title and wants me to see him have good programs with some guys from there, like Rollins is a good guy that he could have a good program with, and Rollins has I'm not sure how I feel about his character, and it's kind of how I've been with every character that he's ever tried to pull off aside from his original fresh out of the
Shield.
Yeah, the Shield one. That was probably his best one where he was kind of like the punk ass kid being.
But he was authority still, right?
Yeah. So I mean, but this is probably the one I've liked the most since then. But it's a little annoying and over the top at times, and a little forced. I feel like I don't know. It's kind of like a Joker character, I guess.
Yeah, it definitely has that little. I'm not on my not all my screws are there. However you want to say that. Yeah, it definitely has that feel to it.
So, but it was a pretty good match too. They got kind of similar styles. I feel like too, which kind of made it a bit boring for me at times, but it also worked fairly well. I don't feel like it's quite the match that like a lot of people really say is like the best match of Mania, and I'm not sure I believe that.
I heard it was the best match of Mania, but I thought I thought Pat McAfee Austin Theory was pretty fucking good, and that was only that was
another one that was fucked up by the ending, man.
Again, yeah, exact same boat. Yeah. But anyways, we'll finish with night one before we jump into night two. So
okay.
Anything else on those guys?
No, man. I mean, nothing else can really be said. I don't think. I'm just
Cody came out as American Nightmare, pretty much verbatim. His AEW or his Cody Rhodes gimmick, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. So what was the next one again? That was
Charlotte and Ronda.
To be honest with you, I can't remember fucking a goddamn thing about that match.
Charlotte picked up the dub. That's about it.
Yeah, that's probably what should happen because I fucking can't stand Ronda Rousey.
Yeah,
She doesn't respect the fucking business. She doesn't fucking. The only reason she's there is because Vince McMahon paid her a bunch of money, and I don't think she draws for shit. I don't think she can wrestle that style for shit, and I don't think she's entertaining at all. I fucking can't stand Ronda Rousey.
I agree.
I think she's a fucking waste of a fucking match at Mania, especially the main event match.
Yeah, I think at this point in her career, she's fairly irrelevant, but I think she's just a waste of money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really feel like that match should have been below fucking Cody and Seth. It probably. Oh yeah, I don't. Well, Austin. Where was Austin and KO? We didn't talk about that.
Very last. Very last.
Oh, so there's one more. Okay. Well, I think they should have killed. I think they should have ended the night with. They probably should have put Austin and KO where Seth and Cody were at, and they should have put Ronda and Flair where, essentially where they are at. I guess should have left them there, but they should have switched those matches.
They should have made Cody.
Yeah, because the Ronda and Charlotte match could have been a cool down point for Cody, and I think the reaction would have been better and a better way to end the night off. And they could have maybe made even more of a spectacle of it, and it would have been like darker and funner for his entrance, you know.
Yeah. But I think WWE can't shake nostalgia, and we're in Texas, we got Stone Cold.
Yeah, you're probably.
They thrive off their legends during WrestleMania, and it sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Stop focusing so much on part-timers.
Yeah, and it would have been one thing if they would have like picked a spot for Stone Cold to be at. He got so much time on this fucking Mania. And I love Stone Cold. And that match wasn't actually bad. So we'll just roll into that since it's the last.
Yeah.
That match wasn't actually too bad. It was pretty fun.
14 match. So they got a decent amount of time.
Yeah. And it's KO, man. KO and him on the mic going back and forth was fun.
It was probably great. Yeah. I didn't see highlights. Like I know how it ended, and that's about it.
And then if they were going to do a match with Stone Cold, that was the kind of match to do. I mean, they just walked around the arena and beat the shit out of each other. Stone Cold probably chugged a case of beer the whole time, was just chugging fucking beer. And I guess he essentially what I love, and I just started seeing all this shit pop up for like the last couple of days, but they were trying to get Stone Cold to like cater to the new rules, and he just wasn't doing it. Yeah, like they were like, you can't flip the crowd off, and he's like, okay, and he just fucking did it anyways. Like he just everything they told him to not do, he just did because he was like, whatever. You guys want me at Mania? You want Stone Cold Steve Austin here? Well, I'm not fucking giving you a fucking PG version of Stone Cold because it doesn't fucking exist. Like, period. Yeah. So that I love hearing that shit because they need a little bit more of that, So
right.
But yeah, it wasn't bad, but I feel like it probably should have been a mid-card match, but you're right. It was Texas, and it probably did get one of the best reactions next to Cody, so yeah. All right. On to night 2.
So that was the triple threat: RK Bro, Street Profits, and Alpha Academy. I watched all of Sunday, but I was making dinner and getting distracted doing other things. So I didn't catch every waking second of all of Mania, but we had it on at least.
Yeah. Well, yeah, at least it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't too bad, actually. And I'm not an RK Bro fan. I'm fucking so sick of Matt Riddle. One thing I've been reading, and I think, dude, they need to put Randy Orton back in the title picture because I really feel like people fucking feel like, and yeah, I posted this in the group. For those of you guys that don't know, we have a wrestling group called the Matt Marks Faction. Please join us because we do pick'ems. It's all kinds of fun shit that we do in there.
Even though I haven't done points in a week.
That's right. But I really feel like people believe that if you get Randy the Viper back, you let him do his thing, they totally believe that he could get over on Roman. He could be the guy that Roman dropped the belt to. And they could have a good program with Heyman and, Roman. I mean, I don't know.
And then that's a great transition for then Cody and Randy to mix it up for the world title as well. I think that'd be a great little program for them to run. You know, that the whole Legacy, was that the name of that group? Yeah, Legacy. You know, doing all that sort of thing, and you know, touching back about how Randy was kind of the mentor and Cody was the young lion. You know, at that point, and you know, I think that could be a little entertaining program as well. You know, for the world title even.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there is, that's the one thing that does kind of keep me a little interested, because with as much stupid shit as they do, they've got a lot of potential to do some pretty cool things. But the problem is they can't hold me to watching Raw or SmackDown with just 2 or 3 things that I find interesting. Like, they could do more with Cody and Rollins and Finn, and I mean, there's a list of wrestlers they could do great shit with.
I was gonna say the next match is a perfect example of what you're talking about. Like a match, I'm just like, what a fucking waste. Like, there should have been an IC title or a freaking US title. The Bobby Lashley Omos.
Yeah.
What a pointless program that was. that was kind of like a
and they brought it for full circle the next night. They could have done the whole thing the next night. They could have brought Bobby back. It could have been a big surprise. Could have fucking had MVP fucking turn heel on him, or not heel, but turn on him, you know, and it's just
right.
That's something that could have been done the next night, and Finn Balor could have had a good program. How long was that fucking match?
6.5 minutes.
That's another thing too. It's like, how do you put either of these guys over as a beast if you're finishing it at 6.5 minutes?
Right. Right.
You know, it should be, if you really want to put these guys over, you should make them go for 20, you know?
Exactly.
That's fucking dumb.
16-minute minimum kind of thing. Yeah. So then next match after Bobby Lashley Omos, pretty lackluster, was actually a pretty great program with Johnny Knoxville and Sami Zayn. I think that was a great match.
That was another one that kind of, the ending was stupid as fuck.
Yeah. It everything, it all kind of had, the whole event had kind of clunky endings. It was weird.
Yeah. But for the most part, and we were both kind of like, this is kind of stupid. For like, how long was that match?
14.5 minutes.
14.5 minutes, okay. So for probably like the first 7 or 8, we were both kind of like, this is pretty stupid. But it really picked up towards the middle where it started getting good. And then towards the end with that stupid fucking mousetrap, they should not have thought that was a good idea. Like, that was where that ruined everything almost for me.
That was like an AEW deathmatch fucking botch.
It's exactly. I think if they would have just had like all of the Jackass guys like surround Sammy and like hit him with a bunch of stupid shit until he went down and Knoxville pinned him, it would have been sufficient.
Yeah, shoot him with bottle rockets, and you know, hit him with wiffle ball bats, and you know, dumb shit like that. I think that'd have been
something. You hit him in the balls with it. I don't know. Yeah, there's a bunch of shit they could have done.
Not a gimmick mouse, you know, giant mousetrap that botched. You know, it's like a gimmick mousetrap, and then it botched.
Yeah, it hit Knoxville first.
It hit Knoxville in the shoulder, and he like moved out of the way.
Yeah, and then he like pushed it down on top of him. It was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
It was bad. It was bad. Fucking, again, the endings were just garbage. But there was great matches, but then the endings fucking killed it.
Yeah. But yeah, it was pretty fun though. Pontius getting in there, and Wee Man slamming Sammy was fucking great, man.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Pontius like looked uncomfortable. I don't know if you felt that way, but just like he looked super uncomfortable, like he was scared to take the bump or something.
Well, and Wee Man was fat, dude.
Yeah, he did look chubby.
And that was just like, and I just watched the movie too. He didn't look like that in the movie. Like, he blew the fuck up. Like, it's caught up to him. But yeah, what was the next one?
The ladies 4-way: Sasha Banks, Naomi versus Carmella, and Zelina, Liv and Rhea, and then Natty and Shayna Baszler. So the tag titles were on the line.
The first like 2 minutes of that was like good, and then the rest was really meh. I mean, that's what you get with a 4-way tag with all the women that you can't have time to do anything good with. There's like 4 women on there that should be more relevant than they are in the singles category. You know, like you got Shayna Baszler, who's way more interesting than Ronda Rousey. They should have had her in there with Charlotte, or they need to put Rhea out there. Like, Rhea beat Charlotte, so like, why the fuck is Ronda out there? You know, like,
because they think she can sell tickets. I think that's legit. Why?
Well, and the problem is though, is like Rhea's not going to sell tickets if they don't give her fucking proper time and proper storylines. You know, she can. She's great. You know.
I think she'll do fine when it's not Mania season. I think Mania season they're going to become sellouts and they're going to do the Stone Cold Steve Austins, the Ronda Rouseys, the big, bring Mr. McMahon out, the fucking the unification titles. I think that's the Manias that we're going to get forever now. I think we're going to get who we think the number 2, number 3, 1, 2, 3 draws are, and we're going to bring in a legend and we're going to bring in a celebrity or something like that.
Yeah.
That's how I envision Mania going forward, which is kind of what
Well,
Mania
that's kind of how it's been for the last 4 or 5 years too. So, I was really surprised not to see it all with Cena though.
Have there been any scuttlebutt about him showing up in any capacity?
No, not at all, man. I just think he's way too busy, man. But I figured he would show up. Like, at least he always shows up for Mania, though, in some capacity,
Right. On the red carpet in the Hall of Fame or whatever, that sort of thing. Yeah, I get you.
Mm-hmm.
So, next up was Edge and AJ. I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember what I was doing. But I 100%. I saw Edge. I saw the beginning of his entrance, and then I missed the whole fucking match.
I had high hopes for it, and it wasn't good. That was another stupid fucking ending too. I feel like they're kind of ripping off House of Black too. But anyways, so I'll start from the beginning. It had its high points and its low points, just like I figured it would, because AJ and Edge kind of have similar wrestling styles too. So I kind of look at this match like I would Cody and Rollins, where it's going to have its slow parts, but it's going to have its really good parts where they have good chemistry, but there's going to be parts where they're so alike that it's kind of boring, and that's kind of how I saw that match. But it was pretty good, but it was another one. I'd had higher hopes for it because Edge wasn't in his best that he's like he has been the last couple times I've seen him wrestle.
It was longest match of the weekend. 24 minutes.
That's weird to me. But anyways, and then it ended like with bullshit. They had what's his face come out, Damian Priest.
Yeah.
And he got interfered, which made like now they're probably going to put like a faction together that's pretty much a PG version of House of Black.
That's it. I think Brody King posted like when Wish orders House of Black.
Yeah.
Like that might be a little ballsy because Edge is a much more well-known name than you are, Brody, but I get where he's coming from.
Yeah, and the appearance was probably better than House of Black. I mean, Edge's entrance was pretty rad. It was probably the best one of the weekend, to be honest. I would put it above Cody's even, but Cody's was kind of meant, how it's
Cody was normal entrance, right? It was the pop from the crowd that was
and then they did the build up, and then they had him come up from under the stage with all the smoke, and he was doing his little like whatever, and had some pyrotechnics, and then they did the whole like they shot pyrotechnics at Rollins while he was talking shit and waiting. That was what it like, because they did the whole Rollins is waiting, and he was like talking shit, and it's like time is money, and then all of a sudden the pyrotechnics like shot at him. And he like started him, and that's when the lights went out, and then fucking So there was a bit more of an entrance than just his normal one, but it wasn't as cool as Edge's, where he came up out of the top and walked down the stairs and shit. Edge's was pretty cool, and he looks great, man. I think he looks for the older dudes that are coming back. Edge looks amazing, and I like him because he's not so fucking baby-faced and rubbery. Now he looks tougher to me than he ever did, back in the day. He's like got a different vibe. And that's why I like him a little more than the other guys. And he can still go just as good as he could, I think, when he was younger. He's maybe not as fast, but he looks stronger. Like what he doesn't make up for in speed like he used to do, or like the high flying shit, he makes up for like looking like he can kick ass. It's not like Jericho where he's just losing everything, like Jericho looks good, but he still isn't going like he used to,
No,
just because Jericho's style and his size doesn't allow him to do that,
Right.
So, but yeah, what was the next match?
Sheamus and Ridge Holland versus the New Day. I completely missed the match because it was only a minute and 40 seconds long.
Yeah, it was stupid. It's dumb. Dumb.
Okay, we'll move on. Then Pat McAfee and Austin Theory.
Oh man, I've wanted to talk about this. Pat McAfee should and Jake Paul, both of those guys should be fucking on the roster in my opinion.
Logan Paul.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Dude, I've been a fan of Pat McAfee since his feud in NXT with Adam Cole. I've been such a mark for him. I love him on the fucking announce table. A lot of the old school guys don't because they're like, he takes away from the talent or from the boys is what they always say. It takes away from the boys.
He adds to it. I think he adds an element of your commentators getting into it, other people are getting into it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He is one of the highlights of Raw every time I tune in. It's and it's, I mean, yeah, sorry guys, bump up, focus on your talent more. Because what McAfee is doing, he's taking, he's grabbing that brass ring. He doesn't give a shit because if they drop him on his ass, he's going to leave and be more successful or just as successful someplace else.
He's fine without his WWE contract.
Yeah, basically. But he loves it. And the thing about it is he's a fan, dude. He is a fucking fan. He's one of, I would put it out there and say he's one of the best commentators in the fucking business. So much, I would love to see him go to AEW. I think he would thrive in AEW. I hope if WWE does drop him on his ass, they pick him up and pull him in because
he's the WWE mark that I don't think he'd ever leave, but he does have history with Adam Cole. So that might bring him in for something. If
and he just loves wrestling. No, and he loves wrestling. Yeah, I've heard him talk about AEW and shit too, man. Like he likes wrestling.
Any of his outside, I know he's very successful outside of his WWE stuff, after his football days, but I don't pay attention to anything he says.
Yeah. But I don't know, man. That match was good until the ending.
Yeah.
They could have.
There's a theme here.
They could have left it how it was and still fucking. They could have left it how it was and still fucking did kind of the same thing. They could have let McAfee have his moment. They could have let McMahon have his moment, and they could have let Stone Cold have his moment.
Hold on. I'm trying to remember. How did Pat beat Austin Theory?
Fuck, I can't remember. I think he just did a fucking shooting star press or some shit.
Yeah, but then he beat him, and then they technically counted, or then they started a new match with Mr. McMahon, the character Mr. McMahon versus Pat McAfee, and then that's when Stone Cold came out and all that fucking
gave the worst stunner ever. Like
that was so bad.
That's funny because it's now the one thing that it did do was knock McMahon's other worst stunner ever off the worst stunner ever map. Because like it's funny because everybody's like, if I took, or Mick Foley's always like, if I took a stunner like that, Vince McMahon would have my ass. He's like, but when he took that first stunner and it looked like everybody was back there just kissing his ass, like, oh my God, that was so good. That first stunner he ever took was so bad. And he got better with it at time, but God, that was horrible, man.
Right. And then you see it, then you remember his miscue where they actually did Austin Theory's music and he like had the Stone Cold reaction, and then they had Stone Cold's music happen like 30 seconds later, and then it was like, oh, like McMahon.
Oh yeah.
They the fucking count or whatever.
Yeah.
That 4 minute, 5 minute segment, whatever it was, oh my god, it was embarrassing. It was really embarrassing.
Yeah,
like, to me, it was one of those like I felt uncomfortable. It was so embarrassing.
Well,
like, I'm not even WWE mark, but I felt uncomfortable because it was so fucking ugly.
Yeah, that was actually I could relate to that. I don't think I could put my feelings towards the end of that match any better than you just did. Actually, it was really hard to watch.
Yeah,
I was like,
and
then it just irritated me. They should have just fucking had McMahon get in the ring, get tough with him, and then have them start putting the beat down on fucking McAfee, and then have Stone Cold's music hit, come out, Stone Cold fucking stuns Theory and stuns the shit out of McMahon, and then him and fucking McAfee fucking chug beers in the middle of the ring. That would have been the best way to end it. But no, he had to fucking chug McAfee, and McAfee still had to, and he didn't know he was going to get stunned. I think like
Yeah.
Stone Cold either did it on the fly or like he was told, but McAfee still managed to have his moment after that and get over. Out of all of that, it's still just him chugging beer on the fucking side, like while he's down on the ground. It was so fucking like, he was like, all right, if you're going to take my moment from me, I'm going to fucking take it back because now it's fucking, you know, like in that's how good McAfee is, you know, that he's that fucking good. There's something about that. He's a fucking star, and
Well, he was like that in the NFL too. Like I don't remember his college days, but in the NFL, he would like, you know, he'd hit a really good punt or whatever, and then he'd do like a chip shot, like I'm a fucking badass, and I put it right in the spot I was supposed to, and like he's just been an arrogant little fuck since the beginnings, and it's been great.
I would say the only good part of McMahon coming in is like he nailed that punt to McAfee's stomach pretty well.
Yeah.
Right. That was about the only good fucking thing he did. I'm surprised his old ass didn't botch that and end up breaking his face or something or missing the ball like Charlie Brown in the ball and fucking falling down or something, you know.
Tearing his quad. Remember when he double tore his quads, you know, doing one of those?
Yeah.
So, well, anyways, on to the main event. So Roman and Brock, with Roman picking up the W in a 12-minute and 15-second match. That was a great match up until the end.
Yeah.
Our theme.
Yeah, and with me, like, I mean, I think we'd already kind of talked about it, like those two were going really good, man. And they had their first Mania match was really good when Rollins cashed in. They've got good chemistry.
Yeah,
for two guys that don't have a lot of stamina, two guys that are kind of have the same wrestling style. They have a lot of good chemistry, Brock and Roman. Mm-hmm. And then you add Heyman in the mix, and it's always adds something kind of flair, you know. And personally, but even back then, I thought how they should have ended the first one. Besides, or maybe not the first one, but the second one, because I think they've wrestled 3 times at Mania now.
I can't remember, but I know it's been a hot minute. Yeah.
But the second time I thought to myself, like, because the second time he fucking fought, the first time he fought Brock at Mania, he was still kind of over. By the time the second time came around, it was back when they were really tired of Roman and the fans were like booing him as a baby face, but they just kept shoving him in the face of everybody. And I was thinking to myself, like, that would be a great time to put Paul with Roman, because Roman can't talk for shit. And it would be a good time to turn him heel, you know, because the fans want him heel anyways. And Roman and Paul have history and, you know, yada, yada, yada. And it would have been a good time. And then that would have been a way to get Roman the title and get him a relatively decent run. But it worked out the way it worked out fine. Essentially, it still ended up happening, you know?
Right.
I was kind of expecting like maybe a double cross where like Paul fucking fucked Roman over somehow, but you know, that didn't happen, which is probably for the best, you know. But like, it was good until the fucking end. I mean, and like you said, it's kind of the theme of this Mania. And what bugged me is like, okay, well, I get it. Like, you don't want to make Brock look weak, but you kind of did still anyways, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you had him take a hit from the belt and all this bullshit happens to where Roman's cheating. And then the one thing that finishes him off is one single spear.
Yeah,
like, right. It ended so quick. I was like, what the fuck just fucking happened? This is stupid.
Sorry, I'm looking up the WrestleManias that they've wrestled. My bad.
Oh, that's right. I mean, it's just fucking dumb, man, you know? But I don't know. And now I feel like this is going to drag on even longer. I feel like the Roman Brock saga should have ended right here, but I feel like it'll go to SummerSlam. How I feel is we'll see it at SummerSlam, and then we'll see Cody and Roman at Mania, unless they get the Rock on for Mania.
Right. And did the Roman whatever.
And if that's the case, they'll have Roman beat Rock, and then they'll probably start a program with Cody almost instantly on the Monday Night Raw afterwards.
Right.
And then Cody will probably drop the title to somebody like fucking Tom Hardy at Mania the next week.
So, the Roman Brock saga has been WrestleMania 31, where Seth interrupted the match with the cashed in. Then WrestleMania 34, where Brock beat Roman, and then now WrestleMania 38, where Roman beat Brock. So, yeah,
that's what I thought. Yeah, I almost thought that Roman beat Brock. Oh no, Brock was pissed. That was the year that Brock threw the belt at fucking Vince when he came back through the Gorilla Station, though.
When Brock beat Roman.
Yeah, because Brock was tired of being champion and he was tired of fucking being like just tired of it. And fucking he wanted to hand it was like, dude, like you've been building this forever. Why am I not handing the belt over to him? So that I don't know if you remember the fucking scene of it or not, but
Video.
Yeah, and Brock just throws the fucking belt at Vince McMahon's face, and he's like, "Fucking asshole." But yeah, because there was a big thing where they weren't sure if Brock was going to come back. But yeah, I guess Brock and Vince just have that relationship where Brock is a fucking cash cow for him, and he can throw the belt at Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon's not stupid. He's not going to take that shit off of somebody like Sami Zayn, but Sami Zayn doesn't fucking draw box office fucking views like Brock does, you know?
Right.
So he knows he can take shit off it. Plus, Brock's been around, you know, and I feel like Brock's whole mentality on wrestling's kind of changed. A lot of people don't like him because everybody was kind of like, oh, he just isn't fucking into the business or whatever, you know. But
been on interviews recently saying he loves the business.
Yeah, I think that was part of. I think he just didn't talk about it, didn't boast about it, but obviously, like, so he passed up going back to the UFC like twice, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
He was so close to going back to the UFC that one time he's cutting weight. You could see it. You know, everybody thought he was going to be going because
he looked home.
Yeah, and he won his last fight against Mark Hunt, which he was jacked up on fucking steroids. But he also said that was due to his he has an inhaler that's got a certain kind of steroid in it that made him pop hot, which is true. A lot of those do have steroids, and they will make you pop hot. I kind of believe him, you know. Right. But I think all those guys are jacked up on something. You know, but yeah, man. All in all, it definitely wasn't as bad as the Mania where there was no crowd. You know,
right?
Where the only shining moment of that turd was the fucking Boneyard match,
right?
But I literally can't remember shit about last year. And I'm pretty sure I'll remember a few highlights from this year. You know, I'll remember the Jackass match. I'll remember Cody coming back. I'll remember, the Austin match. I'll remember the
Roman. It ended so poorly.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is a lot of it just ended badly. But a lot of people are saying, hey, they thought it was a great Mania, and maybe it's just that there just hasn't been a great Mania since the pandemic happened. Yeah, but I don't think it was great. I think it was okay at best, personally. That's my own personal opinion. I think the last great Mania is when Seth cashed in. So there's a lot of
WrestleMania. That's WrestleMania 31, so that's 7 years ago.
Yeah. There were some good highlights on some of the other ones for sure, but I think that was legitimately the best one. I'm pretty sure the one where the one with Brock where Brock took the streak wasn't bad. It was probably a great Mania. I can't remember who was on that card, but
that was the Daniel Bryan Yes Movement one where he was the B+ player where he beat who was it, Batista and Triple H in the handicap or whatever it was.
He beat Triple H to start the whole night out. He had to go through Triple H and then go fight Randy Orton and fucking Batista for the belt.
Yeah, I knew it was those four guys. I just didn't remember who wrestled who when.
And then he got fucking injured.
Yeah.
And then he came back and he took the IC belt and he ended his fucking career.
Yeah.
For a minute. Talk about a guy that I'm super happy with, though, man. Fucking his shit's been great since he went to AEW.
Yeah, I know you said you're not a huge fan of the Blackpool Battle Club or whatever the fuck they're called themselves. I'm already drawing a blank what their name is, but yeah, I think it's a cool thing because it kind of has a what's that movie with fight? It kind of has a Fight Club feel to it. You know, the little like you gotta get jumped into this group, the bleed with me stuff. You know, to fucking be with me. You know, I think that's just kind of a cool concept. At least that's how I see it in my head.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, man, I don't know what else to add. This has been this has been a pretty fun one to do, though. All in all,
Yeah, we only got sidetracked for a little while at the beginning.
well, and as far as going step by step through matches,
yeah, which a lot of times we said we didn't want to do that.
but yeah, it was pretty fun considering this one. There was a lot to talk about, though. I think that was the best way to do this one. What's the next pay-per-view? Do you know?
Oh, I just closed it. Give me a hot second. I'll get back to it. Oh no, I don't want to update my shit. I'll update my shit later. Of course, my update thing pops up on my iPad right as I'm, we're at the tail end of things and trying to look up more shit. All right, let me go back a couple times. WrestleMania 38. So we got WrestleMania Backlash. No,
What is
I'm
that?
sorry. Yeah, WrestleMania Backlash. May 8th.
Okay, I'm pretty sure my Peacock fucking subscription will fucking expire then, and I've already caught up on Yellowstone. I don't need Peacock anymore till next year, so I'll probably cancel it.
Right, you can just get the 7-day trial like during WrestleMania week.
Yeah.
Man,
When's the next AEW?
Double or Nothing at the end of May, Labor Day weekend.
Are you gonna get that?
I think we're gonna be out of town, but I'm gonna record it, and yeah, I'll end up getting. There hasn't been an AEW pay-per-view that I haven't bought yet.
Okay. You always bug me to come over. I was gonna say I would come over probably if I had it off, but
I'm pretty certain we're gonna be in Seaside that weekend.
Okay, you guys can go to the coast of shit ton, huh?
Yeah, I apparently my wife and mother have fallen in love with this hotel that we keep going to.
Oh.
Whatever.
Well, hey, I'm going to be playing down there in July for a double fucking header. You guys should fucking plan a weekend down there.
In Seaside?
Not in Seaside, but in Warrington.
Oh, really? Where are you playing at?
Flood Valley Brewing started a fucking brewing company down there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I'm going to go do a double header.
By the same name, still also Flood Valley?
Yeah, it's just Warrington.
Okay, I'll have to check that out then, see where they're at, and see if I know that part of town since I spent a few months out there when we were working.
Well, it's not very big, so yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where we went to get our groceries last time I went on vacation in that area. So yeah, I mean the travelers are going to be there hanging out. It's kind of going to be my summer vacay.
Sure, there you go.
But yeah, it's fuck. I might ask you where that fucking motel is at, though. But I think I'm going to try to find an Airbnb so we can practice and try to work out some new songs and stuff.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. But yeah, you guys, if you guys are into going to the coast so much, you should plan that weekend.
No doubt. We will definitely look into that.
Word. Well, all right, buddy. I guess that's it. Unless there's anything else you want to talk about. I mean, nobody's really been released. I kind of have been seeing some stuff real quick, though, that I'm kind of thinking Cesaro is going to pop up in AEW or Impact here pretty quick.
Okay, I haven't seen shit, so
yeah, I just started seeing this shit over the last couple of days. So I'm thinking that Cesaro is going to pop up, and I'm excited for that, and I hope they use him kind of like if he does go to AEW, I hope they give him the freedom they gave like Bryan Danielson, because I want you to see how good he is. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've seen Claudio Castagnoli matches on YouTube, which he was a much different character than Cesaro was.
Mm-hmm.
But he was, I mean, he was a very fun character to see in Ring of Honor. Like I never saw any of his stuff, live Ring of Honor. It's all been YouTube. And yeah, no, he was good shit back then.
Yeah. That's just your typical, I don't understand how WWE can just like ruin so much shit. Maybe it's just because like we're saying, they want their product a certain way,
Yeah, right. And they have a completely different vision for a guy than the guy that knows how to use his own fucking body. Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, or his own talent as far as talking goes. I guess their big thing is they didn't want him to talk because he's got a really thick accent, but he talked all the time in ROH and he was fine. He got over just good.
He talks fine as it is. He just has a heavy accent, but and not even a heavy accent, but an accent where you can probably make out 99 of the words he fucking says. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
it's thick, but that's not super bad. It's not any worse than Rusev's.
no, not at all.
I think maybe it just doesn't sound as tough as Rusev's, like Rusev. There's another guy, he's got to be popping up soon.
Yeah, Miro probably, I don't know what the hell he's got going on, but maybe with this Ring of Honor purchase, he'll spend some time over there.
Oh, did you hear about Lana's interview? Well, there's something we could touch on real quick, just to tell you all the nuts and bolts of shit that I've been reading. I guess she did a spill all interview with somebody where she basically was saying WWE brainwashed her and shit and all this stuff. Lana's, I don't know, she's kind of a fucking shit show in my opinion. I love Rusev or Miro, but everything I've seen about Lana, on Total Divas and shit like that, I figured that once she left WWE, she was going to be a victim times a million, not just your normal, oh yeah, the fucking, Mox or somebody who kind of fucking buried him a bit, but I knew that it was going to be 100 times, and she was just waiting for that moment. And I think she waited long enough to be sure that she wasn't welcome back right away too, because it took a minute. I'm sure she was sitting around the phone hoping that they'd call her for something because they paid her good money.
Yeah, but it's been over a year, so she's like, okay, well now I'm gonna shit on him.
Mm-hmm. She's the best thing that she's ever done is be a good valet for Miro.
Yeah.
And who knows if she can do that when she's not acting like she's Russian,
Yeah, right.
Because she's definitely was more interesting when she was acting like she was Russian than.
Oh, most definitely.
Even though you knew it was super fake, I knew that girl spoke English. I was like, this girl's got to speak English, perfectly. But it was still, it was just fun, And ever since they kind of cut the shit, that was when she really,
Right. I was yeah, from Florida.
That was really kind of shitty of them to put her and Bobby Lashley in that whole thing, though.
That always makes me.
Yeah, and I think Bobby Lashley's pretty happily married too.
Yeah.
It's why do that?
I mean, WWE has done that and actually ruined marriages over.
Oh yeah, well, and Lita and Matt Hardy, and
right.
And not just marriages, but other relationships too. Yeah, man.
It wasn't a WWE program with the Kevin Sullivan.
No, that was WCW. I was gonna bring that back around to where it's not just that company, but every company's almost done that. ECW's done it. Look at Sunny, when they started having her do programs with Sean or Brett and all that. That's when she really I think Chris Candido either committed suicide or fucking. Everybody said that when him and Sunny broke up, that was the end of Chris Candido, and that the clique was just so fucked up to him that it was ridiculous. And Chris Candido also was a star everywhere he went besides WWE when they turned him into some bullshit fucking body fucking, aerobics instructor character, And but yeah, Shawn Michaels made a joke of him, Shawn Michaels had Sonny suck Ahmed Johnson's dick for some coke and then fucking came out of the motel and said thanks for the bump to Chris Candido. He used to have fucking Kevin Nash and fucking Scott Hall and X-Pac stand outside his locker room door so he could fuck Sonny so they could fucking keep Candido out of there so they wouldn't get caught, yeah, man. And then this dude ends up being completely ruined, which I mean, you shouldn't let a bitch like that ruin you anyways, but at the same time, it's not good. It's not healthy,
Right.
And
right.
in these stories, sometimes I think make these things happen or put strains on relationships,
I 100% agree.
Yeah. So I don't think they should do them anymore, really. I mean, I get it if the woman's not married and maybe the wrestler is, and it's a good opportunity to have a good manager there. I would say a good example of that was when Zelina Vega was with Andrade, and Andrade was dating Charlotte. You know, like they had good chemistry together, but there was like a professional understanding there. You know, and there was no jealousy because then he'd just go off with Charlotte, and Charlotte had a storyline where he didn't really fit into it at all. You know? But at the same time, he's got problems with speaking English, and he needs somebody, and they put a good looking fucking piece to fucking talk, you know, and he's a good looking dude. So they shouldn't have some guy like fucking Paul Heyman out there. It's just some good looking girl, you know. I mean, there are some exceptions to the rules, but that was just like, for me, it was just too forced and unnecessary fucking altogether, you know. And it felt like a way that they were trying to almost just fucking put Bobby over and fucking Barry Rusev, which how do you go from having Rusev fight Cena and come out on a fucking army tank during one of like a great Mania to having him fucking do that bullshit, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
They create.
Well, anyways, I don't know, man. I don't know what else to add. I'm probably gonna think of something that fucking.
Yeah, we'll save it next for the next podcast.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, we probably won't do one for at least a couple weeks now. You know.
Yeah.
This,
unless something significant happens.
Yeah, I was gonna say we usually don't stack them back to back, but since there's a Mania, you know, even with a lot of the smaller pay-per-views, I don't see why we need to do a pre and fucking and post, you know.
I don't. The big four, I think, are worth doing a post show, but I don't think we need to do a pre-post show for anything other than WrestleMania, to be honest.
Yeah, and Big Four does not include Survivor Series these days.
What's our Big Four now? Now it's
now I'd say Rumble, Mania, SummerSlam, and then probably I would say like or not Double or Nothing, but maybe All Out or All Out. Yeah,
is in November. No, I think it's November timeframe. I think that sounds right.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Wait a minute. When's their big? I thought their big one. They need to figure out. I don't know. They need a better pay-per-view system, I think.
Well, they only have they have
four right now, right?
Yeah, they have Double or Nothing, Revolution, All Out, and Full Gear. Oh, Full Gear's in November. Full Gear's in November. Because All Out is Labor Day weekend, which is the end of summer. Then they have, or no, that's Memorial Day weekend. I'm sorry, Memorial Day weekend is All Out. In the middle of November is Full Gear, and then Revolution is in March, and then Labor Day weekend is Double or Nothing, and that's AEW's Big Four. And then they do the special dynamites with Fight for the Fallen and Fighter Fest and
they got that one coming up. What is it? The Night of Champions or something?
Yeah, but that's still a Dynamite, or maybe it's a Saturday Dynamite.
Yeah. That's kind of. Oh, it's a Saturday Dynamite.
I believe it's the Battle of the Belts is a Saturday Dynamite.
Okay. Well, that's kind of cool. So it's more. Is it like a Rampage supplement or?
No, I think they're gonna have a show Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday.
Well, that's cool because I've been saying they should do that. Remember, because like that's what I've been saying they should do. Those is like do like they used to do with Clash of the Champions, where they would do a Saturday night like event that wasn't a pay-per-view, but a lot of cool shit would happen. That's almost exactly what they did with Clash of the Champions.
Right.
So I think that's kind of their way of doing that. So that's pretty cool because usually they just do that shit on Dynamite, which bugs me a little bit. I think I appreciate these events a little more if they would do more like Saturday night ones, you know?
Right. I'm trying to look it up real quick.
I was gonna say, when is that? Well, it might be our next time to do a podcast. Actually, is after that.
Right. So it's like trying to look and see what.
I think it's coming up before the next pay-per-view.
Yeah, I believe so. Let me get to 2022. So Battle of the Belts, which is January 8th, which I need to find a fucking calendar. Or what I say? Did I say January 8th?
Yeah.
Words are hard real quick.
Is it June 8th?
No, so what the fuck? Am I retarded? There's a very good possibility. Oh, Battle of the Belts 2, April 15th, which April 15th is.
Well, that works out about to where we'll.
That's not a Saturday. That's this week because today's April 10th.
Is it Friday?
It is Friday.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, so it's essentially Rampage. I thought it was a set for some reason.
God damn it.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
sorry.
so excited. I'm like, Tony Khan's listening to Matt Marks. I'm pretty sure.
It's too funny.
Hey, somebody commented on our YouTube though, man. I actually want to say that. Did you see that?
No, I don't pay attention to our YouTube at all. I only pay attention to our Facebook stuff.
Oh, yeah, dude, you should utilize the Twitter more because I can't. You know that better than me. So,
yeah, I keep forgetting to post our fucking Twitter. Whoops. I'll
do
start
we
doing
have an Instagram? We should probably do an Instagram too.
think so.
All right, I'm gonna make an Instagram then. Because I've been getting a lot of heat off of my other podcasts on Instagram. So,
Have you?
yeah,
Okay.
I'm just kind of learn how to work some shit.
Okay, well, I'll start posting all of our episodes on Twitter because I'm an idiot and forgot that we had a Twitter.
But yeah, our fucking our views are going up a bit, dude.
Hey.
And I reached out to hopefully our future special guest, but I haven't got anything in return. So I'll hit up Donnie to see if that can happen soon. So that should help us too. But I think he's been busy. I've been watching his Facebook. I don't think he's been around a computer much. I think our maybe potential special guest has been living real life shit for a week or two, just trying to, and I haven't watched Impact or anything to see if he's been on it, which is something I want to start doing actually. And since I'm going to stop pretty much watching WWE, I might try to start watching Impact.
There's our spoiler for who our special guest might
Not
be.
really. There's 100 fucking
Non-Impact.
I'll give you a hint. It's not the Briscoes.
Although we got a picture with those guys.
Yeah, man. I would love to interview the Briscoes, even though I'm not sure we'd have much to talk about. Like, I tried to make conversations with them, but I don't know. It's funny. Because he fought Jay Lethal that night. And I was like, and Jay Lethal walked past us. I was like, are you going to fuck him up? And he's like, I'm going to take care of him, son. I'm fixing to take care of him. Yeah. Dalton Castle and Melanie was probably the highlight of the whole fucking thing.
Oh, yeah, it was pretty good.
Their whole fucking dialogue was so fucking funny.
Right. Yeah, we made Dalton's his YouTube page. Granted, it was the board you could see us engaging with him, but man, I wish they would have slowed it down and had his and Dalton's, or Melanie and Dalton's back and forth would have been pretty entertaining.
Yeah, that was so hilarious because he was 100% in character, and I can't remember how it went down, but she was like, "Yeah, we came to see you," is what she said. He said, "I know you did," or something like that. I can't remember, but yeah, it was funny as hell watching those two talk.
Right.
And Melanie just jumped right into it too. It's funny.
Yeah. Right.
She's a good wrestling wife, man. She's fun to go out with,
Right.
You're lucky to have somebody that wants to do that shit with you and completely just goes all out too, man.
Her shit with me, yeah, right.
Well, shit, man. All right. That concludes episode 10.
Yeah, perfect.
All right, buddy. I'll see you next time.
All right. Have a good one.
Later.